Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster, plans fall apart, risks backfire, and things rarely go as expected. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is one thing: adaptability. In today's episode, we'll explore why adaptability is the most important skill every entrepreneur needs, how to build it, and how to thrive when things go off the rails. Welcome to Everything Entrepreneurship, the podcast where we tackle the real challenges and wins of building your business. I'm Kyle Jerome Carter, and my goal is to help you not just start your entrepreneurial journey, but thrive in it. Whether you're working a 9 to 5, building in your 5 to 9, or scaling your dreams full time. Today, we're diving into one of the most overlooked but essential skills in entrepreneurship: adaptability. Because let's face it, even the best laid plans don't always work out, and being able to pivot could mean the difference between success and failure, right? Now, let's start this off with a little fun fact. Did you know that 70% of startups pivot from their original idea before they succeed? And that's primarily because, and I just made a whole video, a whole deep dive on adaptability. So I get to have a little more fun here, keep it more conversational, right? Adaptability is probably, for beginners, aspiring and new entrepreneurs, they struggle with it the most. They think a failure equates to them being a failure. And that's true. That's not true. Things aren't necessarily meant to always go the way you planned, but having an understanding and feeling confident when or if things don't go as planned is a true skill that most people truly need to lean into and learn, right? I was talking about a story about myself. One of my best friends actually a year ago was like, "Hey, I'm going to start this business. This is who I'm helping, and I'm going to get this thing off the ground. If supply demand is a thing, right? And there's a demand for it in the market." When I say fast forward to today, he's on the 5th or 6th iteration of that business because he was willing to adapt. He didn't say, "This didn't work. I was told to just do this and do that and it would work out." No, he failed, and then he failed, and then he failed, and then he failed. But that perspective shift that you need, he didn't see failure. He just pivoted and then pivoted and then pivoted and then pivoted until he found what really works. And far too often do people get hit with adversity. Everything, they just spend so much time. They spend weeks or even months preparing for something. And then one aspect or many aspects of that plan doesn't work, and then they fall apart. No, you can't do that. That's not cool. We have to basically kind of normalize setbacks, right? Setbacks aren't signs to stop. They're opportunities to grow. So you have to find a way to look at it as growth. Say, you know what? Things didn't go the way I wanted, but I'm going to grow through this. And I'm going to go through this so I can grow through this, right? I feel like that rhymed. I don't know who said that, but I've heard that before, right? It's pretty relatable that, or you just think about it like this. How many times have you felt stuck because something didn't go as planned? That's basically where adaptability comes in, right? And granted, I broke it down to 5 steps in the deep dive, but there's a couple of different things that you can do as it pertains to adaptability to have a better understanding of it and use it to your advantage. And the first thing you really want to do when things don't go as planned is just pause before reacting. I want you to actually take a moment. And 9 times out of 10, you're able to take a moment. The other times you're not able to. Like if you're just in so much momentum, things are going, something went wrong and you have to just immediately move, it is what it is. But 9 times out of 10, you have a moment to pause, take everything in, and then figure out exactly your next steps. We know that things can and might go wrong, so we're not asking for things to fail. We're not expecting for things to fail. But what we are doing, we're preparing that if failure does happen, what we can do to get around it, right? And even still, that's in a perfect world. There's going to be far more times that you aren't prepared to pivot. You're not prepared to adapt, but you have to. And once you take a moment to really breathe, maybe take about 5 minutes to clear your mind, allow the dust to settle. Then you can start to properly, step 2, reassess the situation. You want to really figure out and ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I control? And what's the opportunity here? Because there's always an opportunity there. Sometimes when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to force something, especially as it pertains to business, and you've dotted every single I, you've crossed every single T, you prepared for this thing for months, and you legit checked, and then you double checked, and then you triple checked, and everything goes wrong. That's a sign that everything is still going the exact way it was supposed to. So you have to figure out, what's the opportunity here. You took a moment to gather yourself, to compose yourself, to say, you know what? Things did not go well. And granted, I'm telling you to think about this rationally. You're going to be emotional 9 times out of 10. You're going to be like, what the heck, man? I sacrificed. I put out money. I put out time. I put energy. I did all this stuff for something to not work. But that's where we have to have that mindset shift. We have to be able to say, you know what? Things didn't work. But because they didn't work, I need a moment. I need to compose myself. I need to gather myself. And then once you do that, you can identify what went wrong. If there's a leak in the boat, let's find the leak in the boat. And then maybe we could find out why the leak happened. Was it something that you controlled, or was it something that you can't control? Far too often people think that because they control so many aspects of their life in entrepreneurship, that they're going to be able to control so many more. And that's not the case. It really isn't. There's probably more things that you can't control in a given day than things that you do. But it's not about having control over everything. It's about having control over yourself and what you can control, and using them wisely, right? And then you have to figure out, what's the opportunity here. Like, you really want to, and I like to write things down, whether it's on pen and paper. You may want to jot it down in your notes, whatever it may be, but try to figure out, what's the opportunity here. I did all this hard work, and it's all falling apart. What was it for? We have to stay positive. I'm not telling you to start smiling and be happy and laugh and stuff like that. But you have to stay positive. You have to stay positive because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you're a problem solver. Far too often I find myself telling people when they ask me, okay, JC, how are you able to just keep moving forward? How are you able to just get past this thing, whatever it might be? And I tell them, I'm a problem solver. I'm a business owner. I can't allow something not going my way to deter me. Like, I truly can't. I have too many things and actual people depending on me. So that's non-negotiable. We can't do that. So even I find myself living by this. I'm giving you this advice, not just because it worked for me, but it worked for others, and it can work for you, and it will work for you. So I want you to take a moment, gather yourself, compose yourself, and breathe. Allow yourself the grace of a couple minutes of just nothing in silence. After that, you're going to figure out what went wrong, what can I control, and what's the opportunity here? Because there is an opportunity there, and there is a way forward. You're just simply on a detour. Oh, went dark. And then after that, I want you to take purposeful action. Adaptability isn't about just changing direction. It's about moving forward with intention. If you're driving and your GPS goes out and you're in an area that you're unfamiliar with, that doesn't mean you just press the gas and go forward as fast as you can. If you took a moment to assess the situation, figure out what you can control, you really want to start taking purposeful action, playing to your strengths. Okay, I don't know this area, but I can recount my steps. I know before I went straight, I went left, then right, then left. So to get back, I need to go right, then left, then right. And by doing that, I can get back to a gas station, a Walmart, a Wawa, whatever it may be. And from there, I can regroup. Maybe my Wi-Fi will start working. I can ask somebody. Hopefully you don't get kidnapped or something like that. But that's an example of pivoting with purposeful action, right? In your business, if you're releasing content and steps 2, 3, and 4 are contingent on step 1 going off flawlessly, and step 1 horribly goes off or just doesn't go off at all, you need to have action with purpose. I'm not just gonna unload the clip and just post everything in 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to figure out what's the best next step. What can I do? What can I control? And how can I make this beneficial for me? Right? If it's a detour, where is it leading you? Maybe you can use that to your advantage. Step 1 didn't go the way I wanted. Step 1 didn't come out the time or the way I wanted. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to make that so good. I'm going to make the most out of that. It's not even funny. And then people going to be like, golly, he probably intended for step 1 to not go off without a hitch. Or it's going to be so effortless and flawless since you watch these videos in the deep dive that you're going to make it look like, dang, that was a plan the whole time. Right? And for somebody that's working a job, I remember years ago, I think I was at the bank, and something similar. It wasn't exactly content, but we had something dropping, right? That we can make money from. We had something dropping, and something was off. I couldn't figure out what happened, but everything was supposed to come out on like Friday at like noon, and it was Friday at 6 p.m. and I couldn't get in contact with anybody, and what was supposed to drop didn't drop. And I remember my business partner was like, yo, KJC, granted, I'm the problem solver. They don't solve problems, even though they should. But they're like, oh, KJC, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, this is supposed to go off, and it didn't go off. Look what time it is. Like, we're all behind. And was this supposed to go off tomorrow? And this, kind of like the example, even though they're unrelated. And they're like, yo, but why are you worrying about it? It's like, yo, your goals are so big, you're going to have to worry about stuff way bigger than this. So you have to make this thing small. And I remember I took that with me because it's reality. When you remember how big your goal is, episode 1, when you remember your goal, what it is you want, by when, and why you're doing it, then you realize what you're working towards. And if you know what you're working towards is that big and it's impactful, not just to you, but the people you love and care about, then you know that this one thing not going right, I can't allow it to be big. I have to shrink it down to its actual size because it's actually something small. Even if there's money on the line, even if whatever it may be, you have to make it small. You can't allow it to become bigger than it needs to be. So when we have purposeful action, after you took a moment to reevaluate, after you took a moment to figure out what you can and can't do, what's your next best step? You don't need to tackle everything. You don't need to accomplish steps 3, 4, and 5 in your next step. What can you do right now that will help you move to the next step? And by breaking it down to smaller pieces, you're going to find yourself stressing less, having less anxiety, because right now the focus is just this. It didn't work. It's in the past. It happened. I'm not complaining about it. That's what other people do. We're entrepreneurs. We're business owners. We solve problems. And because we solve problems, that's what we're going to do. This problem needs to be resolved. What's the first? What's the next? What's the best next step that I can do? And a lot of you are going to find yourself, again, kind of going back to goals, but not really. New year, new me. We're almost in February. Some people saying this month has just been dragging. Personally, I feel like this month is flying. So many people didn't necessarily make or follow their goals, right? So are you going to blame somebody else for that? Or are you going to adapt? Are you going to make your best next step worth it? Far too often do we allow the situation to overcome us when we don't necessarily need to, right? Just because you didn't make what you said happen doesn't mean that you can't finish the mission. You know? If you know anything about me, I love anime. And my favorite anime is ReZero. And one of the main core principles in ReZero is you can start from zero every day, right? No spoilers. But For a person that's beating themselves up, for a person that needs more money, for a person that is working a 9 to 5, maybe has 2 jobs, and they just need this business idea to work out. Or if it's the person that's been in business and they saw something online and they just put all their money into this one thing. Just because something went wrong, just because you have an accumulation of failures, you're not a failure. So what I want you to understand, every single day, every single moment is a moment for you to move forward. Don't beat yourself too much. You got plenty of time. You're the only one that's going to be with you at all times. And I guarantee there's somebody that loves you that's going to try and hold you accountable as well. Don't beat them up. Do better. Taking a moment to realize that something went wrong, whether you can control it or not, it's in the past. To adapt, to invest in your ability to adapt is probably one of the most valuable investments you can make, because it will strengthen your mindset as well. Entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey. Entrepreneurship can be a very fun journey. If you know me, I've been saying for the last year, almost 2 years now, it's not all sexy. Sometimes it is sexy. Business is sexy. Being able to work from home, get whatever you want, help out family, like vacation, work from wherever you want. That's cool. I love it. But it's not all sexy. There's days that I'm right here at my desk for 8 hours just getting work done. There's days when you get a client that wants to cancel. There's days where you get just so many things just going wrong. There's days where you drop the ball. Nobody's perfect. But it's not about beating yourself up. It's about taking a moment, breathing, identifying what went wrong, figuring out what you can do next, and making sure that your next move is your best move. I promise you, by doing that, by embodying that, you will be able to get through so many more situations without all the stress and anxiety. It's not even funny, I promise you. You have to be able to give yourself the grace to restart in that moment, to say, you know what? Things didn't go well and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But you know what? I can take this moment. In this moment, I can take a stand and I can do what's right. And I don't need to worry about being consistent I need to be consistent today. And then tomorrow, I need to be consistent again today. Today is what matters. Because by being consistent today for many todays is how you get to that overall consistency. And that's how you start to build that discipline. It becomes so much of a habit that it doesn't matter if you feel good, feel bad, if you're sick, if you're tired, it gets done regardless. It becomes a new standard for you. And to be able to adapt, not just in business, but in life, becomes such a huge thing, because most people look at these situations and they think everything is falling apart. But most times things aren't falling apart. One thing didn't work. 2 things didn't work. And if 3 or 4 things didn't work, then you might be part of the problem. That doesn't mean you have to throw yourself away. It doesn't mean you have to beat yourself up. That means you need to take a moment, reassess, and have purposeful action to make your next move your best move. Now, most people are going to say, I'm scared to make the wrong move. What do I do? It's okay. You have to do what you truly believe is best. And you have a sense, I guarantee you know when you're doing something right and when you do something wrong. If your best intention is behind it, okay. But if you're worried about that, you're scared to make the wrong move, after taking a moment and analyzing the situation, you're going to have a feeling of what's towards the right direction and what's towards the wrong direction. And you can't try and solve the whole problem with that one thing, right? most people are like, especially business owners, I've already invested so much into plan A. I've put out so much money. I hired 2, 3 people. I got them trainings. I got them a mentor for the trainings, and it still didn't work out. You can't let pride or ego keep you from pivoting to the right direction. Just because you've been doing things wrong this whole time, does it make sense to continue? Or does it make sense to say, you know what? I need to make my next move, my best move. I need to move forward. Right? In my company, it doesn't matter whose idea is the best idea. I don't care if I come up with 20 ideas and they're all trash. I don't care if they're legit thrown away or horrible. I care about us moving forward in the right direction. I don't care whose idea it was. It's not about me. It's about the mission. It's about the whole, right? And for my business owners and serial entrepreneurs out there, if you've invested so much energy and time, chalked it up to R&D, research and development. I guarantee you've researched and developed so many assets now that you know what not to do. Charge it to the game. Cut your losses. Unless that's literally going to be the thing that bankrupts you and just that's the end, which most likely it's not going to be. You can't be afraid to let down your ego. You can't be afraid to go in a direction for your benefit, even if it's not something that you're necessarily comfortable with. That's why it takes the moment to not react emotionally, but strategically, right? And there's so much more I could talk about. That's why I made a full deep dive video. It's coming out, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. I got a really good reception of the of my personal content on like Instagram and stuff with the day in the life and the interviews. Go check them out. I have Tehran's out, both of them. And this week, Davon is dropping. What are we going to do? I don't know if we're going to do I think we're going to do, we'll do the day in the life first. And then we'll end it with a bang with the interview. But I'm having fun, man. Helping people, helping entrepreneurs, helping businesses, getting my business where I want. It's cool, man. I'm happy. Not because it's all easy. I'm happy because I get an opportunity to do what I want to do and go after it every single day. There's so many people that don't have the ability or opportunity to go after what they want. So that's why every single day, whether it's raining, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, I just wake up and thank them up top and say, hey, I appreciate the fact that I'm able to go after it every day. You know? So I'm going to have the full deep dive video out on either Wednesday or Friday. I love the reception that the other videos got on a Friday, but at the same time, I think Wednesday, dropping the interview and daily life switches it up a little bit so that the podcast can breathe, allowing anybody that wants to deep dive to really go in over the weekend, even though they want to be entertained, still got to do some work, right? Yeah, I had a whole different topic to do today, this week, but I was really called to do adaptability. All my 9-to-5 homies that are still working a job out there, you can do it. I promise you can do it. There's some content that you guys really need. A lot of people, most people working their job, working 9-to-5, that are entrepreneurial employees, that got that fire inside of them, don't know that they're truly sleeping on a gold mine while they're still working. I wish back when I was working my 9-to-5 years ago that I took advantage or had a resource like this. So I'm putting something together. This is Everything Entrepreneurship. And if you see some of the branding, you're going to see the prerequisite. The prerequisite is basically, I'm not going to give all the details, but let's just say formal, informal, step introduction, standard bar setter of entrepreneurship so you can be set up on the right foot, right track. But yeah. So I'm excited. I got a couple more videos coming out. I want to just go all in this content. This is fun. I got a couple like webinars, 9 to 5, and business owners helping them with their marketing. Oh my goodness. I'm just call it community service content, man. I see, and it's probably because it's been beaten into me, but I see so many businesses that have horrible branding. It's not even funny. And as a brick and mortar business, there's so many different branding things that you can do that can set you apart that don't even require money. So if you're a business owner, check the link in the bio. I'm having a bi-weekly marketing workshop. Topics are going to be each week. They're going to change. And if you're still working 9 to 5, I got a 9 to 5 entrepreneur workshop as well, bi-weekly. They alternate. So check those out. Follow me on Instagram at kyle.jerome.carter and watch this again. Share this with somebody. We reached a couple people across the country, and every single time I'm trying to double. If I had one viewer, and then the next time I want 2. After the 2, I want 4. After 4, I want 8. After 8, I want, So it's like, that's where we're going. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Send this to somebody else. Let them know everything entrepreneurship is here. And we're really going to be diving deep into these subjects, into these topics, sharing just the journeys of other different entrepreneurs and business owners so that you have everything you need to get around and get over every obstacle and roadblock across your journey, man. I believe in you. You can adapt. Take what I said to heart. I meant it. Follow me on the gram. Check out the links below. Share it with somebody else. Like, subscribe. Till the next time. Talk to y'all later.